going to demonstrate changing the gears in the G series encoder. Just a quick reason why for this. I foolishly made a mistake in the early first batch of the G series encoders, and there was a very disappointing failure rate, and so some winches will be fine forever. Thankfully only a small proportion did fail, and the most common cause of failure was broken gears. The other mode of failure was the magnet being too loose in the gear and would move. Anyway, all been resolved, and so I'm presenting here a video on, if anybody wants to do it themselves, it's really quite easy, but I always encourage anybody with winch problems which they think are warranty to send them to me or to somebody I will suggest. Okay, so let's get on with it. Here's replacing the gears. First thing, we need to open up the encoder. And it's really this simple. It just clips in place, so you just pull, bang, and that's off. Okay. Next is to remove the gears. Fine pointy note pliers are ideal, and I can use the thumb to push it off. You don't want to go off at any angles. Okay, that's one. That's the slave gear, and you can see the magnet in there. And here's the master gear. And as you can see, dentistry required. No, it's fatal. We ain't sending that one to the dentist. Send him to the undertaker. Put them out of the road. Next thing to do is, there can be loose gear teeth. Generally there is, so we need to wipe out, looking for teeth. Okay, there's one, got him, and clean up in there. No, that's all clean now. Yep, that's all clean of debris. Now what about in here? Here's a telltale. You can see that right there. Okay, there. Yuck. Bad. Okay, now let's just go around a bit more. I'll just make sure that that is absolutely clean of debris. Next, the new gears. Now these have already been pre-greased, but to show you what I do, I use silicone grease in a syringe. Just put a little bit down there. The gear. Now, very important to make sure it goes on square. There you go. Just pushes on nicely. Some grease in here. Into this gear. In these models, you can also pre-grease this if it has been removed. And then this fluff. Make sure the meshes done, and just push it on. And the excess grease, you can just pull it up onto the gear. Then good blob of grease over the top, silicone grease over the top. It's going to be more than needed, and that's why I designed in here a little slot on there for the excess to flow out. Otherwise builds up pressure. But there we go. Remove the excess. Okay, and a little bit here. And we are all done. Now what's required is to, just wiping my hands for the grease. What's required now is to recalibrate the encoder. This is now part of the reset to defaults in setup 2. The other thing that's also now part of reset to defaults in setup 2 is the self-test for the winch. And the reason I put that in is sometimes people will change the motor from one type to another, different performance parameters, and the self-tune, I should say, a part of in the self-test, will recalibrate some settings in the controller. Okay, so now to do that, I'll get the transmitter in close by. I shall zoom back out so you can see everything. You can see here that I'm plugged into my receiver, plugged the winch into channel 3, which is this stick, setup lead into channel 4, which is also this stick. 3 is up and down, 4 is left right, and you'll see how that is used in a second. Once we power up, get the connectors. Where are you? Do it the right way around. That's out the road, and it should be working. Turn the transmitter on properly. It's going okay. Now, sometimes you might find that the lack of calibration is so bad that it may cause the winch to jitter or whatever. Just try again. And even the worst case, if it won't behave, just take the slave magnet out and turn it a couple of teeth and then put it back in again. Then it should be okay. But to really fine tune it, that's where we need to go into setup 2. Now this winch has not been programmed previously, therefore I have to go through setup 1 before I can go into setup 2. So I'll demonstrate setup 1, how easy it is. With the setup lead on channel 4, as I said, to enter setup at any time, like the winch, we know the winch is going, we simply go, we're in setup. We've calibrated the transmitter into the winch. That's done. Now we go back to 0. That beep says now the winch will operate when I operate the stick. So I'm going to take it to roughly 3 turns. I'm not bothering to count, but that's about 3 turns there. Okay, and to set that, write that into memory. Simple, and it restarts. And it goes back to close hold position because I put the stick in that position. Now, to reset to, oh, by the way, it didn't need to be taken back to 0 for the particular setting in channel in setup 2. Doesn't matter where the winch is. But what is critical is that the drum and or the sheets, they must not be attached because the winch will self-drive during this process. Okay, so to enter setup 2, just leave it and wait till it starts counting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Set and reset. Okay, those 3 runs, that's all part of the self-tune and the encoder calibration, and it's done. So, peachy sweet. Okay, that's it. Thanks.